John and Joanne Robinson have been happily married for 55 years. John was 21 and Joanne was 18. It was a different era back then. Most people married young. Joanne says that they've been more successful than a lot of their friends. She says one reason is because they've always tried to work together. Sometimes that means giving each other space. Sometimes it means accepting change.
I've been really fortunate with him because he let me sort of spread my wings. I did real estate, and anything I wanted to try, he would let me. Back then that was sort of a no-no because a lot of the women didn't work outside the home. They were maybe mainly homemakers. But you change each. After so many years, you got to change. Each person changes. You don't stay the same.
Another key isn't really a secret. John and Joanne spend time cooking together, taking walks, and they love to travel, always together.
We've done a lot of things together, like I said. We both have sort of the same interest. Well, I don't golf, he golfs, but we've done a lot of traveling, we've been on cruises, things like that. And mainly our children, our grandchildren, our family, that's been probably the most rewarding part of the marriage.
John and Joanne each agree on the most rewarding part of it all. They have 2 children and 5 grandchildren, all their greatest joy.
Is to see your kids get married and have grandkids, and everybody doing good, And I think that's the most rewarding part about marriage, really.
John is a retired firefighter. He was just 23 years old when he and Joanne had their first child. He says that time was the toughest part of their marriage.
Is trying to survive, with 2 kids, and back then the fire department didn't pay no money, and that's why most firemen had to work 2 jobs, to make it. So I was hardly ever home, I'd get off from the fire station, then I'd go to my second job, So that was probably the roughest part.
Jeanette Smith is a marriage counselor, and she's seen her share of young couples. She says that young couples today, tops, have a 5% chance of staying together. But she says age isn't everything. It's also maturity.
And it's really difficult for, someone that's in pre-20s or, that doesn't really want to make those kind of sacrifices to succeed in a marriage. So maturity is probably as much of a question as age. Am I ready to not just think of myself?
Smith acknowledges marrying young is totally different today because we live in a society that's a lot more selfish.
Back then, the whole idea that when you married for life was part of our culture back in the 50s. That's not even part of our culture now. I mean, people get married with the idea, how long is this going to last?
But it has lasted for John and Joanne Robinson. They're still looking forward to their children and grandchildren's successes, believing that every sacrifice they made was well worth it. Charles White, Inside Jacksonville.